I've often thought about what would the perfect player look like.
It might play the game in a completely different way from the way that we play it.
As a chess player, you want to know more about chess, you want to get deeper, and there is so much still to learn.
AlphaZero played a match against Stockfish, which was the strongest computer that we all knew, and it won the match.
And all of a sudden I thought, wow,
does this really work? How does it know how to do it?
I started thinking, oh, it's quite interesting, and there's just a couple of games that went bang.
And these were very exciting games, very attacking games, giving pawns away right at the early stages of the game. The other computers were thinking, well, that's too early.
AlphaZero doesn't have any rules. It learns through experience.
Really didn't think there was room for this huge attacking style, never in my wildest dreams.
There's even more depth than we thought in chess.
It's like discovering the secret notebooks of some great player from the past.
It explains AlphaZero's strategies.
How does AlphaZero think? AlphaZero blows apart what traditional engines are doing.
Hello, good morning.
Hi,
Hey, Natasha.
morning everybody. Welcome to the stream.
I saw you sneakily eating
Did
breakfast.
you?
Master.
Oh, I wasn't quick enough. And I gave it away on the stream as well. It's Weetabix, which is a very fine breakfast cereal in these occasions. They're much quicker to eat than Alpen. I don't know if you ever tried. If you have to eat a bowl of cereal quickly, you'd always choose Weetabix over Alpen.
Yeah. Alpen gets in between your teeth, doesn't it? It's really
Yeah.
It's I've actually graduated to having Kit Kats for breakfast, but which is I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it's turned into a bit of a tradition now. So
okay. Yes. Wholesome. Get your vitamin chocolate at the start of the day.
Exactly. That so I have my vitamins, my daily vitamin supplements, and then a Kit Kat as well. So not quite sure about that. That's thing is it was actually my nephews who got me onto it.
Turmeric rice. I wasn't predicting that, Mark.
Turmeric rice. My goodness me. Oh, yeah. Lockdown does strange things.
Do you do the microwavable bags of turmeric rice, Mark? And Alexa's made it for you. That's fantastic. Oh, the modern world.
Indeed. Now let's have a look. We've got we're doing something different today because we are having a look at the juniors. So the junior under 18, under 16,
Got
under
6
14.
categories: under 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, and 8.
Fantastic. Wow. Okay. Now, Natasha, you put together an amazing sheet of all the players.
Yes, I did a slight shortcut because I've only given you the white players on there.
No worries.
The white players. So hopefully that should cover every single game. So we should be able to pop into any game you choose. And actually you can get them on the pairings thing as well. Yeah.
I have to tell the viewers I received your sheet at 2:17 in the morning. So I mean that's incredible dedication. I was really thinking, Natasha, what are you doing at 2:17 in the morning? But fantastic. Got all the information together. So it's and they've started already. Look at those juniors.
Oh, good. Okay, let's have a look.
Oh no. Actually, I think let's have a look. Is this actually his game? Yes, it is. He has actually already started. So, well, the juniors we're maybe taking
raring to go
to catch up. The juniors are raring to go. So,
one thing I wanted to say, if there's any parents watching, if either parents or even ideally even any of the juniors would like to pop onto the stream after their game is finished and say a quick hello and just give a couple of sentences on their game and how they were feeling, then that's great. And if you want to do that, the easiest way is if you drop me a message on Twitter. I'll put my ID in there, and I will get you the link. So that's that. Yes, sorry.
Okay,
so hopefully get some of the participants on the show.
Indeed, and sharing my screen now, so you should hopefully see the screen and us as tiny people. And we are starting with the top seed, Shreyas Royale. So, and we have a Benko on the board. Let's have a look how that all happened. Knight f6, c4, c5, d5, b5, knight f3. So this is actually an opening system that I played as a junior. So this is many years ago. And it was recommended by Regan in his actually really excellent book. I think it's an attacking opening repertoire for white. And that's actually where I really got into a mainline 1d4 repertory. And so he recommended this with, and the idea was indeed that if black goes g6, now you play c takes b5. And that gives you just a few extra possibilities compared to taking on b5 immediately. Now, after a6, I think that Ray recommended e3 in this position, which, no, he didn't actually. He recommended, I'll show you the move he recommended, because it was a very nice idea. It was, he recommended this idea, I think, knight c3, ab, and then d6. And there is actually a funny story to that, because, I mean, in general, this system got me excellent results. I mean, I really did very well with it. But I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I had a game with Grandmaster Julian Hodgson in this, in the Watson-Farley-Williams tournament in 1988.
Yeah.
Actually, a master, actually. And see, we're suffering a little bit with the
sound.
I'm afraid I'm going to. Yeah, it's my chess base. It's I opened up my database and it started acting crazy. So I'm going to close chess base. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, close chess base, and it should look a little bit better there. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, computer's not acting great today. But anyway, yeah. So Julian actually played a quite brilliant game against me. He sacrificed the exchange and completely destroyed me in this line. So that was a little bit of a shame. But Shreyas plays it a lot more quietly. He plays b6, so not taking the pawn, but simply getting the pawn back, but making sure that black doesn't get the A and the B files there. So, hey, Peter.
Morning. How are you doing?
So black only gets the open B file in order to attack there. So d6, knight c3, bishop g7, and now e4. This is quite a decent way of playing against the Benko. You're not too ambitious, but you simply just give black one file to attack, and you also get this very nice square on c4 for the white knight. So plenty of possibilities like that. What black normally tries and do, actually, black often plays knight bd7 in this position, with the idea of taking back with a rook on b6, because well, an open file, that's where the rook wants to be. And that's just slightly more harmonious than taking with a queen. But what, in actual fact, white often does then, if you go knight bd7, white often plays a4. So, threatening after rook b8 to play a5. And then you really do force black to, well, to take back with a queen, for example, on b6. And then I go probably a5. If you do something like queen b4, I've got rook a4. It's a little bit of a, yeah, it's a slight edge for white. And at some stage, white players were scoring very heavily with this. Nowadays, it's less fantastic, but still one of the major systems. So we're going to see how that turns out. Certainly, if you're playing fast chess, I mean, I played the white side of a Benko against Gawain in a blitz game, a 5-minute game, and Yeah, I got a very good position as white, and I was better for a long way, but I just kept on. I just got so far behind on time trying to keep up with all the Benko counterplay. You know, it's quite difficult. So yeah, I mean, this is quite a sensible system. Let's have a little look at some of the other games. We're going to have a look at Toby Cox against Danela. Is it Ellis Danela Dyson? Or is it Danela?
Elise Dyson.
Oh, right, that's great.
Right, let me do that. Yes, Elise Dyson I have played before. Elise Dyson is the sister of Imogen Dyson. And yesterday we saw a really, really interesting game between Imogen Dyson and Nina Pert. We were following that on the stream. Elise is, I think, the younger sister. And when I played her, it was at the ECF Women's Championship, which happens just after the Mind Sports Olympiad. I remember it really clearly. And I'd been playing in this Mind Sports and then travelled up to, I can't remember whether it's Birmingham or somewhere, and Friday night, and I played Elisa, and she was so tiny, and she played very lovely chess. It was level for a long time, and I was worried if she could reach the end of the board, you know, that tiny. Yeah, but I did win in the end. But yeah, she and Imogen are very talented, and I'm interested to see how she does in this game.
Yeah, so this has been a French with D-Tech C4, so Rubinstein French, very solid. One of John Spielman's favorite openings as black. There's also a German player called Georg Meyer who's made a living out of it. You know, just he's about 26, 30. He's played quite a few of these elite events in Germany, and yeah, a lot of draws against strong players. It is quite a tricky system. I've often been tempted to play it, you know, obviously because of his results, but somehow also I'm always just a little bit afraid of getting mated. So it's one of those systems where I think if you know it very well, you can play it very well. If you're a little bit hazy on the details, then white can build up quite a nice attacking position. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. White's played this move bishop c2, which
looks like white is lining up for a kind of queen d3
exactly,
and attempting to checkmate on h7, which I'm sure you get a lot in junior tournaments.
Indeed. So it's going to be quite. I mean, Pack's already got to think a little bit carefully about what you want to do there. I'm just trying to think what the best way to do it is. It's I mean, the problem with it is, let me just say, if we just play a normal move like rook c8, then well, yeah, let's say a normal move. So queen d3, attacking h7. So I think, you know, more or less the only move there is to go g6. And then I've got plenty of ideas. I mean, there's stuff like bishop h6 and bishop a4. This is always a typical little trick, you know, and the rook on the 8 is slightly embarrassed. I mean, here you can play bishop c6, thank God. But I could also play, you know, a move like knight e5. I'm threatening bishop a4. I'm also threatening queen g3, you know, with possible sacks on g6. So yeah, I mean, black has definitely got resources to defend. No worries about that. But it is just a little bit. You've got to be quite you know, tactically on top of things. If your opponent has short arms, play defensively. That's really good, Mark.
I know. You're kind of tempted to. Especially if they get short on time and you're tempted to make them play these long moves across the board.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, let's have a look. We'll move on to the get another game. Well, these are looking quite really interesting games, actually. So looking forward to all these.
It's quite a small tournament, actually, the under 18s. There's 8 players, so what they're doing, it looks like they're doing an all play all. So they've got for that section, you can see all the rounds in advance of who's going to play who, when, and what colours. Whereas the other sections, it's a bit more like you get the pairings on the day.
This is a Nightmare Freddy against Something Gambit 1, which is James Merriman against Nicholas Brown. Rather unusual opening here.
We've seen James Merriman before as well.
We have indeed, yes.
He was in the qualifiers, I think, for the standard play.
Exactly, that's right. So Queen B3. I mean, a rather unusual Bishop B4, recommended by Richard Pert in his excellent book on the Ragozin defense for quality chess. Queen B3, slightly unusual reply as well. Takes and actually an unusual reply with B takes C3 actually. Knight F6. I'm sort of tempted actually to go Bishop A3 now to stop the
slow down castling.
Backing from castling, but White just plays very normally, goes back into normal lines here. Bishop G5. We get D takes C4, Queen takes C4, E3, H6, Bishop H4, and here Black played a somewhat risky move, Knight E7. So Black, White.
Would you take?
I definitely take. You have a double pawns there. So Bishop E2, F5. I mean, it's sort of interesting what Bishop E2. I'm not 100% sure about that one. I think Bishop D3 would be more natural, or maybe E4. Bishop E2 is a little bit slow. Black, going for the direct route here. Rook Fe1, B6, Bishop D3, Bishop B7, E4, Rook G8, and we've got quite a sharp position now. Obviously, Black's got some hopes of attacking along this diagonal. King is a little bit weak there. I mean, it's also the king is also on this diagonal, of course, so looks a little bit scary. The white queen's a little bit misplaced here on c4. I mean, in principle, I'd expect white to be doing pretty well here, but it's interesting play certainly, and something for white to think about. I mean, if I had to play a quick move here, then I think G3 would be my my first guess. White's played Knight D2 there, which is also quite sensible. I mean, the reason I liked G3 here was because I just oh good lord, got that wrong. Get an analysis board up there. The reason I like G3 is that well, the knight can come to E5 later, which is quite a nice square. I sort of block this combined attack, and so my knight can move into E5 later, and that seemed worthwhile. And I mean, I think at some stage you're going to need to play G3 because you're going to want to threaten something like EF. So Knight D2 is just a little bit more passive, maybe committing the knight earlier than it needs to go. You're still not threatening EF because G2 is hanging. So what can Black do? I mean, C5 might be quite interesting for Black now. In principle, just get a rook on C8, get the pressure on D4, since White's played the knight to D2 and no longer protecting this. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably I think Black is sort of doing all right here. I think. Just if you can get into CD and rook C8, then yeah, White's going to be a bit embarrassed with this pawn. So yeah, interesting play from Something Gambit. Now let's have a look whether we can see Archie Platt against Platt or Piat actually against Jonathan McKay. I tried to find that one, but I didn't manage. Let's have a look. No, that one doesn't seem to have started yet.
So I'll look up Jonathan McKay's just in case.
Okay.
There's a difference.
What we can do, we can have a look at the under 16s as well. Yeah. So we got Maximilian Wilton against Adam Collins. That one started. This is a good old-fashioned exchange. Caro-Kann got very popular recently. It was one of Bobby Fischer's favourites. He had a great game against Petrojan in the 1970. I think it was USSR against rest of the world match, and that's really where this system became popular. I mean, Fischer was very good at taking these slightly less than critical systems and turning them into big weapons. It's become very, very popular now. I think all of the top players have tried this. And after bishop f5, funnily enough, I saw that Caro-Kann had played bishop e2, which seems amazing. Sorry, bishop e2 here, which seems amazing. But the idea simply is that well, White is simply claiming that that Black doesn't have sort of obvious play, hard to get in e5. Yeah, so White's just going to play bishop e2, rook e1, h3, and then carry on developing later. Here, White's played bishop takes f5, which I guess kind of gives Black his main idea, which is consolidates, gets a grip on the center, and then Black's going to play knight e4 and king h8. Now, this move h3, I'm a little bit nervous about. I'll explain why. The point is, if you just sort of play normally, let's just make some random moves here. Black is going to play on the g file like this, and just line up and maybe get doubled rooks or even all three major pieces on there. Now, I mean, if you do this, then you can just play g3. If you played h3, then obviously, yeah, g3 is a little bit more weakened because you haven't got two pawns protecting g3, you've just got one. And with a knight on e4 coming on here, attacking g3, f2, I'd much rather have my h pawn on h2 to give some defense rather than on h3. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous about that move, but we'll see how it goes. King h8. In principle, I quite like the way that Black has played here. So yeah, we're going to see. Oh, and White's taken on e4. F takes e4. Well, yeah, I mean, I just quite like Black here. Yeah, quite a nice pawn center here. You can play f5 later, yeah, maybe the g file to attack later. There's a very famous game, I think, Maroczy Capablanca, in this sort of structure, where yeah, Capablanca played very, very nicely and won a great game. So yeah,
it does look more fun for Black to play, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, White with an opening like the exchange Caro, you're trying to restrict Black's activity. You flatten out the position, no tension in the center, not too much imbalance, and then you're trying to make it less fun for Black. And well, somehow when I get this position, I feel that I'm having quite a bit of fun with Black. So I feel that hasn't really worked. But
so Adam Collins is at online for NCL. He's won a 4 NCL tournament with 5 out of 5.
Ooh, okay.
Irish player, and Max Wilton is an English player. On board 2, we've got Barnaby Reeford against Adam Sikowski, and Adam, it looks like, is a Polish player.
Oh, right, okay. Now, we've got another Caro-Kann on the board. I mean, Caro-Kann has become very, very popular. And we've got an interesting, well, a very typical way of playing in actual fact here. So White hasn't played critically at all, just, yeah, brought out the knight and played bishop d3. And Black's played this very typical maneuver, queen a5, bishop d2, queen a6. Known forever, in actual fact, this maneuver. I mean, I remember there's a very famous game, Atkins, a great amateur British player. And how many?
This would be H.E. Atkins, I guess, not Rita
Indeed.
Atkins.
No, H.E. Atkins. So was he 9 times British champion? Oh, I should know this. I've written lots of articles about it, but multiple British champion. And Capablanca was Black, and Capablanca won a beautiful game against him. With this maneuver, just exchanging off queens. Now, White takes a slightly controversial decision, letting his d pawns be doubled. The one thing about it is that Black's counterplay is with c5, and the idea is then, well, if you play c5, I will undouble my pawns. So that's the idea. But in general, this is not offering White very much at all. h5, I think, a good move here because White might have tried to play h5 himself, because if you play h5 yourself, just put that onto demo board. if you play h5 yourself, that gives you much better chances for later playing g4, moving the knight to h4 and playing f4, f5. You know, there's some actual counterplay for white there. When black plays h5, it's much harder to gain any space, and the knight on f5 gets a great square, as we can see, where it's attacking d4, you know, and tying this knight down. So, and of course, you know, we're also putting lots of pawns here on the dark squares. And well, white's got a dark squared bishop, so it's not the best position there. So, in general, you know, I'd say I'd rather be black in this position. I think black's more comfortable, and certainly, you know, it's not that anything's gone wrong immediately for white, but the seeds of problems are really there already. You know, with pawns on the dark squares, dark square bishop on d2, and also double d pawns, which. You know, if you're looking in terms of who's got the breaks, then it's definitely black here. I mean, a5 and also f6 and possibly g5 in the future. So
was Atkins Capablanca that one where you tricked me on the video? We were doing a video. Was that Atkins Capablanca?
No.
I started saying what a good game it was for Capablanca, and it was a different one, was that?
No, that's right. It was Capablanca, Sir George Thomas.
George Thomas. And I was saying how well Capablanca played, and actually Sir George Thomas had won that.
Exactly. It was Sir George Thomas was another multiple British champion, a great player in the 1920s and 30s, one of England's strongest, behind Fred Yates, who was really the top player. Fred Yates was a real world-class player, you know, top 10 player in the world, or top 20 player in the world in that time. But he had a quite amazing result one time at Hastings, sharing first place, and he had this amazing day where he beat Botvinnik and Capablanca in the same day. And he beat Capablanca with black from a Queen's Gambit declined. And indeed, you'd normally think that this was an immensely smooth performance from Capablanca, but it was actually Sir George Thomas who played out of his skin and won a great game. And yeah, so I hadn't actually warned Natasha about that, and she went. You went for the normal assumption. You went for the normal assumption. I mean, you know, it was. Yeah, Atkins Capablanca is a great game because actually H.E. Atkins, he's one of my heroes, amateur player. You know, stopped playing chess for years on end, but such a strong player. He would have been. He really would have been a world-class player, you know, really at the top of chess if he hadn't just stayed a schoolmaster, you know, in England and just played occasionally, because he won some great games. He beat Rubinstein and a number of other strong players, and just you know, considering he was an amateur, no openings, just playing just like that, you know, it really was incredible. So really worth watching it. I mean, if you want to have a look at some Atkins games, I annotated a few on my blog, which is I'll just put it in there. I haven't updated it for quite a while, but oh wait a minute, I'm not getting in there. Matthew Sadler.me.uk. Let's see whether that goes in there. Yeah, Sadler.me.uk. And yeah, just search for Atkins on there, and there's some great games to look at. I also did a lot of work. I got into the British players. So I did some annotations of Sir George Thomas and also Fred Yates as well. So if you're interested, then do take a look at that. It's not a big site. It doesn't have a huge number of hits, but I'm very proud of some of the work that I've put on there. I also did a huge number of annotations of Atkins games as well.
We also found some of their gravestones, didn't we? There was 2 or 3 of them.
So yeah, I mean, Natasha did a huge driving stint for me, and we went to see Fred Yates's grave in now where is it? I
can't remember where they were, near the Lake District, wasn't it? Or
it was Yorkshire. It was Yorkshire. It was Burham Burstow, something like that. And I was also looking for H.E. Atkins' grave, but that's that gravestone, that's apparently in a huge graveyard in Leicestershire, and there's no specific record of where it is. So that's a real shame. But Fred Yates's grave is there, and very beautiful. Now I took I put a board. So we put a board next to his gravestone with a picture of one of his most famous games against Vidmar, I think it was, in the Queen's Gambit Declined, a really fantastic game from is it Bled 1932, so there we are. I took a photo of him, and also one of his books that he'd written as well with William Winter. So really wonderful, lovely to see that. I love these classic games and classic players. I think the reason for it, actually, and maybe that is definitely a tip for young players. If ever you want to read a book about the old players and see why you might be so enthusiastic about them, Edward Lasker's Chess Secrets I Learned from the Masters is a wonderful, wonderful book. I mean, apparently half the stories in there are, well, not completely true. He was he sort of did embellish his stories, or maybe he didn't quite remember them properly, and he wanted to make them, maybe a bit funnier than they were. But he had a very eventful life, Edward Lasker, a distant cousin of Emanuel Lasker, apparently. A pretty strong master in his own right, played in the New York 1924 tournament, and some absolutely wonderful stories, great characters, all of that. They gave me such a love for chess and chess history, and it's never left. It doesn't matter if some of the stories have been embellished a bit. It's that's how I like to think about chess and chess in the old days. So I mean, there's stories about von Bader-Leben and with his eye patch on his eye, and apparently he'd been married I don't know how many times, because apparently there were some women who were very keen on having his aristocratic name. It's probably nothing of it is true, but you see that, and then you see his games, and you just sort of think of all these wonderful stories, and it's really incredible. So a lovely book to read. Let's move back to the present day, and
we're working through the junior sections. So we've checked in on all the under 18 games, and we're on the under 16s at the moment, looking at board 3.
This is Pavel Murawski against I'm not going to pronounce this name properly. Oisin O'Cullinan. Yeah. This is a Nimzo-Indian type structure. So we got this is a Nimzo-Indian, and got this sort of structure with double pawns, and then black has sacrificed a pawn on e4. So white's given up the light square bishop for it. But of course, when the light square bishop is exchanged, then this pawn on a4 is very difficult to hold. Bishop a6, queen a4. Now, the only problem to this, it's a good idea, but the only problem is that I think knight g5 is looking, well, there's going to be two problems to it. Knight g5 is looking very strong for white. And I also have to say that at this a pawn could be a little bit tricky if white plays a4. Because I mean, you can get one piece to a6 to attack c4, but we can't get two, and this queen is actually in a little bit of trouble here, because it just doesn't have very many squares. It's rather stuck. So I'm not sure this has actually worked out very well, but I think knight g5 is going to be very strong. I mean, we're threatening obviously to take the rook. We've got queen e6 coming in as well. So knight f6, I can just go queen e6. I mean, I could actually even go queen e6 immediately. I mean, attacking this d6 pawn and threatening knight g5 and pinning this rook.
Yeah, that queen really does. The black queen really does look out of play and out of the action. So white can kind of make the most of its absence.
Yeah, I mean, I think black really needed to play. When black sacrificed on e4 before, black needed to play a move like knight f6 and bishop c8. Just make sure that the queen doesn't invade. And then afterwards, you really could have had some chance of exploiting this one. But this move castles, queen g4, and now rook f7. I mean, this was a bit annoying, threatening queen e6 checks. I'm not quite sure what black could have done there instead. But yeah, this has just turned out badly. I mean, yeah. What has white actually played here? We haven't. No, white hasn't played yet. But either knight g5. Knight g5 would be by far the best, and even a4 would be quite annoying for black. All right, let's have a look at Tadeusz Thompson against Maxime Lacoult.
I was just thinking, when we finish the under 16s, maybe we should pop to the under 8s next and work up the ages, just in terms of how quickly they finish their game.
Oh, that's very good. You're absolutely right. Let's go there straight away, because I haven't been able to.
Okay, we're going to move on to the under 8s, so we can. Because I just feel like the younger players, sometimes they finish so quickly that we'll just get maximum.
You are absolutely right. Oh, the Ninja Pawn, such a nice name we haven't seen. Sausage 88. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Oh no, Sausage 88 is not there. Oh, Natasha, I'm so sorry about that.
Does that not work? Alex, I just got an email from Alex Holacek saying that junior games took a while to start yesterday as well. So it could be the other way around and that they just haven't started yet.
Ah, there we are. I've got one. Advait 1603 against V-Swan. So this is Advait Kirtikumar against Leon Lebedev. Wow, this is quite an exciting game, actually. 41 moves already. So yeah, indeed, they do play quite quickly. So let's have a look what's happening here. 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. So white doing pretty well there, 2 pawns up, but I guess black's going to grab a pawn on h2 here, well, at least get a little bit of counterplay. I think white's next move might well be to go rook c5, just to embarrass this this knight. That looks like quite a good idea. Force a knight back, and then so, for example, if rook h2, we could play rook c5, just force the knight back, and maybe we can play a move like d5 to d6, you know, just or we could play a move like rook to e1, just pinning the knight to the rook. Just make sure that the black's not going to get any counterplay with those rooks. So now that's an interesting one. Luca Fishbein now against Adrian Callan. Let's see whether we can find this one. Luca's chess. Yes, we've got Luca's chess there. Whoa, look at that. That was an Albin counter gambit.
Look at these knights.
D4, so always going to end up sharp. And yeah, what has happened? 1 2 3. White is 3 pawns up.
Okay.
3 pawns up.
Look at those knights harassing the black king there.
Indeed, but
but look at the white king. Oh, it's very unclear.
Yeah, well, it's got some
yeah.
The only problem is, how is black going to get at the white king? It's going to be, because this knight is covering the d8 square here, so very tough to do that. And white only needs a couple of moves, g3 and bishop h3, and he's going to be nicely developed. So, I think white's doing quite well here. I think been some lovely wild sacrifices from black, but I think that a move like g3 followed by bishop h3 will be very unpleasant for black there. I don't think you can't shift these knights on here. And the only white piece I could think of attacking would be this one with a pawn on g5, but obviously the bishop's in the way there now. So yeah, rook takes d7 is also decent. Takes, and then g3 again, I would recommend. I suppose king f2 and bishop e2 is possible as well, but I think g3 would be nice.
Yeah, you do want to get that bishop out for white, because then that allows the rook to come out as well.
Exactly. So looking very good for Luca's chess, but it's a bit of a crazy position, so anything could happen there. Now Lizzie Carr, that was Zoe Veselo against Amelie Bryant. I haven't seen it. Oh, cute teeny cold. These are great names, I have to say. Yeah. I believe the parents are choosing them. So cute teeny cold, that's George Chen against
and we've got a rook and pawn endgame.
Indeed. So 1 2 3. So black is a pawn up here with very good rooks. Now I think rook g4 looks like a very good move, and black has indeed played it. Excellent. Got to defend this pawn now. So not quite sure. I mean, I think king g1 would be the most natural, just attacking the rook on h2 there. And we've got some sort of threats of playing the rook to e7. Now rook h3 is not bad. And I'm just wondering about rook e7 here, counter-attacking. I might have played rook h7 just to stop that. But this is very this is still very unclear. We could play a number of ideas. We could just go rook g3 here, and just play f4 to f3 afterwards. You know, just try and win this pawn on g2, which looks very dangerous. We could also move over to a3 and then grab this pawn on a4. That's going to get a little bit messy because White's going to take the pawn, and then these two are going to be weak as well. So yeah, I think rook h7 would have been a safer move, but possibly either f3 or rook g3 could still be very strong for black. Now let's have a look. Harry Bryant against Hrithvik Ambatu. Let's have a look if we can get that game up. No, that one doesn't seem to be running or has already finished. And Roger 23, not anymore. So let's just go through the go through those again. Oh, I've seen that by the way that Pavel has won this game. Indeed, we were expecting this to finish quickly because yeah, this was just very painful, and yeah, White's a full rook up there. So one result already there. So let's have a little look. Ninja Pawn, Sausage 88. We didn't have Advite. Let's just have a quick look again, see how that's going. Ooh, look at this. Black's actually done a pretty good job here. Has managed to take 2 pawns on the queen side, and now actually material is equal. So wow. Yeah, no. So a bit of a turnaround there, and yeah, White doesn't have anything spectacular or anything. So looking like Black's pulling back for a draw here. Let's have a look. White played e4, which is a sensible move again. I would have preferred to develop my light square bishop, but this does cut out the bishop here. So quite a sensible move. And Black playing correctly, trying to get rid of this knight on e6. So both players fighting well there. Cute Teeny Cold has indeed White
f3.
Yeah, White stayed passive there, and this is going to be huge for Black now with f3 and rook g2. Very well played from Black there. So yeah, lots of good chess being played in the under 8s here. Let's move up to the under 10s.
Yep.
We've got Tio Khoury against Jai Kotari on board 1. Let's see whether we've got it there. Whimsical Jam. That's a great name. So rook a8. So this is a sort of a perk system with Black. Yeah, Black doing quite nicely. White doing also quite nicely as well. It's just a fairly even position, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Black in general, they expect Black to sort of either play on the queen side like this, or maybe White want to play a knight h5 and play for f5. The rooks aren't placed great for either of those two plans. What does White want to do? Well, White's got either f4, but that's a little bit weakening, or be more likely to again to want to play a4 to a5 and get the queenside pawns moving in some way. Again, the rook on c1's not great for making a4 possible. So quite a complex position for young players to play here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that one. Open Sesame 11. That's Ahab Laith against or Laith Ahab against Thomas Irani. Let's have a look. Do we have that one? Open Sesame. No, I haven't seen that one yet. Frederick the Mate. Frederick Gordon against Shambhavi.
Hi, Rijan. Yes, under 8, so they weren't running so late. They weren't running late yesterday. I'm looking for Dennis. I know. I noticed Dennis's name, Dennis Dupuy.
Oh yes,
yes, he is in one of the. I've now forgotten. Ah, there he is. He is in the under 12s when we get there.
Okay, fantastic. Now let me have a look. I saw something move for Andrei Ivanov. I typed in follow Andrei Ivanov 2011. He's there. Yes, indeed. So let's have a look. Irish player Andrei Ivanov play against Cian Ward, And this is looking quite nice for white, because well, black's got to be careful. Let's put it that way, because after if b takes c5, then we're coming in with rook e7. So I would think that d takes c5 has got to be the black move there to give the queen some air here. So d takes c5. So if rook e7, we could go queen d5. Looks risky because we have a beautiful.
You could imagine a fork where that rook is.
But there's no way to get the rook away with real tempo. I mean, rook takes c7 is fine, but we'd have a move like queen d6 or something like that. So so d takes c5 would be the move, and then I mean, maybe just c4 would be quite a good one, just keeping this bishop out of the way. But black's a pawn up, isn't he? So yeah, I mean, white's got some compensation there, but black seems to be doing quite decently after d takes c5. I think I can't think of a direct way in which white can do something amazing. I mean, what you could do, I suppose. No, that wouldn't work. I was thinking, just wondering actually whether I could go do something like this, but we'll go queen f6 and we'll give up our queen for a couple of rooks. I was wondering whether there were all sorts of glorious ways of doing stuff, but doesn't seem to be. So okay, that was that game. Let's just do one more in the under 10s and we'll have a look at Daniel Dupuis' game. Let's have a look at Mojo 910. We've got Mojo 910. So this was one of your I
like these ones. Yes.
Bishop c5.
Okay, white, allowing white to take on f7.
Indeed, and white took up the gauntlet there and went knight takes f7. I mean, the best move the best move in this position is has been actually played by Engine. So Leader Zero played some games against Stockfish with this. And bishop f7, king e7, bishop c4. This very unusual move was barely played before. Bishop b3 or bishop d5 was thought to be the best. Bishop c4 seems to be even better, and there seems to be just a clear advantage for white. A little bit, some complications, but basically white just seems to be better in this position. But white went for this amazing line, knight f7. And then black sacrifices a piece with knight e4, and it's all happening. And Lord knows what the theory. Lord knows what the theory is on this. But the players have emerged to this position, queen e2, and actually, I come to think I just counted the pieces now. But white is actually a piece up.
Has a piece. Has extra bishop, isn't it?
Indeed, which is not too surprising because black sacrificed one on f2. But yeah, white's also looking very safe here. So. This looks like, in principle, a winning advantage for white. I mean, white's going to swap off rooks with rook f1 and rook d1, and that should be very comfortable. Knight's great on e4, blockading a pawn on e5. So, looking very, very good indeed for white there. I've just seen that, this game where white was 2 pawns up has turned around. So,
okay, checkmate, is it?
It's checkmate indeed. So I think, look at this. White, after rook takes a5, rook takes a5 was kind of necessary, but bishop d6 was played, and this lost a rook to h5.
Yes.
So, white was mated quickly after that. So well done, V-Swan, 8-3-4-3. Well played there. Now, let's have a look. We had in which section is Daniel playing?
Dennis,
Dennis.
Under 12 board 5. We'll pop into that because we know his dad is watching in the chat. So any other parents, if there's a particular game you want us to pop in to, please do let us know, and we will do that. Regan, if Dennis wants to come and say hello on the chat when he's finished his game, then let me know, and we will send a link to you and he can do that. That would be lovely to see him. So this is board 5 of the under 12s. I've given you, Matthew, the white player, so that's the fighting nugget.
It's on the board now. It's on the board.
Marvelous, well done.
So yeah, I've just seen something. This is was a
the opponent's mum is watching too. Excellent.
Oh,
Okay.
Fantastic! This was slightly risky.
You better not be partisan one way or the other.
No. But slightly risky continuation. I just saw it. Black taking the pawn and letting it move on. But I think actually that there is no real good way to. Well, I don't know actually. I was wondering about. I mean, White's got to do something with this this pawn, but I was just wondering actually because I could have gone c7 here, knight b6, and then a4. So I mean, if you go knight a4, of course I queen, which is great. And if b takes a4, then I go bishop a6. Yeah. However, we do have the clever idea a3. And well, I might get this pawn moving, but unfortunately, this pawn is moving. So, so that would actually be weak for black. Indeed. So bishop d3 has been played, and
black should surely bring the king in. Make sure bring the knight to stop the pawn, and then bring the king.
Yeah, that's happened. So king e7 in this position. Now, yeah, if White takes on h7 here, then g6 will trap it. So it looks like I probably played g6 now with black, or even h6, and then just h6 is sensible, because that doesn't give the king too many ways to get through there. And now king d6 is will pick up the c6 pawn. I mean, I suppose king f3, king d6. I think if we're being creative. We might try bishop h7 now, because after king c6, we can go bishop g8, and we will be picking up a pawn. But I think that black can simply play knight c5, protect the e6 pawn, and black is actually going to be 2 pawns up, I think, because I don't see how you can stop that.
The endgame is looking promising for black here.
Endgame's looking very promising for black here now at the moment. So we'll keep a little eye on that one. Let's have a look. We'll go through the under 12s now, shall we? We'll go to Super Skewer. It's a great username. I'd love to have that one. Against Kenneth Hobson. So what's the pawn situation? It's equal on pawns. Yeah, White's got a slightly damaged pawn structure here. Black's e4 pawn is a little bit hard to hold. Gives a nice outpost on f3, but yeah, the knight finds it hard to move there. So that might be we might be able to. I'm not sure whether we can do it immediately. We could try and go knight d5 and just transform this. Try and force White to take on d5, and then take back with the pawn, with a rook or the pawn, and transform this into a strength. That might be a decent idea, because otherwise I'm not quite sure how you're going to get your knights free. So I think knight d5, attacking e3, and just hoping that White's going to take on d5. That might be quite a good idea. You could play something a bit slower with g5, maybe. No, g5. I'm actually giving away Black's pieces here, because we go g5. Alice is brought up. If we went g5, we just have rook d8 and rook f6 there. So we don't want to do that. So I think, yeah, I think knight d5 would be quite reasonable. And then if you go knight takes d5, I'll probably just take with the rook. I'm a little bit nervous about taking with the pawn, because I might take back check and go c4, and we've got this pin on here. But I think if I took back with a rook here,
bishop c4 not possible because of knight take.
Knight c4. But I'm making a mistake here, because I could do something very similar here and go rook d1. Maybe I need to. Not easy, this one, actually. Takes and rook d1. I could go rook c8 in this position.
Counter-attack.
Yeah, if c3, I go rook c5 maybe, and if I can bring the king in, then I think Black, could end up getting decent chances here, because the white pawns are weak. But I might well be able to just go rook takes, and we're going to get, you know, sort of lots of liquidation here, I think. Maybe king g1, rook b2, rook e4, rook a5. So yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I've seen the Mojo 9-10 against Millennium Haldia. That's ended up in a win. That was the position where white was indeed a piece up in this after this very sharp Traxler Gambit. But white has pulled through there. Oh, and Dennis has indeed won. So the Fighting Nugget loses against Dennis Dupuy. Banter, hard luck white, and well played black.
I've also noticed Max Pert is playing. He is in the under 12s on board 6. So he would be the son of Richard and brother of Nina Pert, who we've featured in several games so far.
Indeed. I'm afraid he's not there. It's
okay.
Rubik's Cube 9. Oh, what a shame, because he's a lovely little boy, Max. So very good player as well, just like Sister Nina. But yeah, no, I'm afraid we're a bit too late for that. Lego Children. We've seen Lego Children before, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We certainly have. Harry Zheng is playing in, I think, playing a lot of chess this week. Playing in, I think we were looking at one of the rating limited sections. I think we saw him before.
Okay, under 12. Big ratings for under 12 on chess.com. 1874 against 2038.
Wow.
Indeed, this is
wow. And I'll tell you what, they when they entered the tournaments, they had ratings 1685 and 1721. So they, as often happens with juniors, they've probably been improving throughout the tournament.
Indeed. And this is a very tough struggle. A Sveshnikov system. Yeah, I mean, principal white's a little bit better here. Black's, main counterplay with f5 or a5, b4, or even d5 isn't really happening. And white's, white's got light squares and a square on d5. In principle, what will white want to do? At some stage, maybe play h5, knight b4, a4. Really start putting pressure on black light squares a bit all over the board. And that should be quite good for white, But I think normally against a move like knight c2 with a threat of knight b4, black plays a5, as a sort of almost an automatic reaction. So I think that's quite and well played. Yeah, well played. That's been done. So very, very good. So tough fight going on there. Powerful Wolf. I like Powerful Wolf. What a username that is. We've got him. Pal Rohan against Powerful Wolf against Pal Rohan. So an IQP position where in principle black's doing quite decently because after all, IQP normally you're aiming for the black king, and here there's nothing much of that is really happening. Black very solid on these squares, and long-term weakness of the d4 pawn. So in principle, black's doing very nicely here. And white is actually quite solid, but it's easier. It's sort of with those weaknesses, it's easy to go downhill with white. The engines always manage to hold these with consummate ease, and you say, nah, but you should just be a bit worse. But they have no problems. But for human players, it's quite difficult. So. Interesting. We haven't looked at the under 14s yet, have we?
Yes, we have a look at the under 14s.
Penguin Torpedo. We can't.
They're such good names.
Can't possibly look at against Diamonaut.
Yes. So Diamonaut is playing in the Open.
And didn't he win? He won a great game yesterday. Didn't he? He beat Gunslinger 222, I think. I think that's Jonathan Blackburn, a strong player. Anyway, he beat him very nicely. So Diamond Black 2109 rating, so strong as well. And this is white really going for the big attack, the pawn attack with f5 there. What is black going to do? Well, g6 is an obvious reaction, just to hold back f5. It would be nice to, playing a knight to c4 is a nice idea as well. just to well, attack the pawn on b2 and also make this one a bit uncomfortable. And I'd sort of think about playing a5 to a4 to hit the knight, and maybe d4 as well, just to to give the queen. If I play d4, then I'm threatened to go c4 as well. And this knight is passive. I like black in principle. I think black's got. I don't think this this attack is really too much for now. And I think black's going to be beautifully centralized. D4 queen. I did d4 played queen d5 c4. It's. I do think that's looking quite good for black this position. Kingside rook. That's man-made Chopra. Would that be a brother or sister of?
I think it must be the brother. Yeah, because there's a Tan-made Chopra.
Yeah.
Who's been playing in the standard play in the championship.
Indeed. So kingside rook. No, I don't think I've got kingside rook. I don't think that's. I think that game must have finished already. So we got GM Suyash Prasad. Well, there we are.
Ah, yes, marvelous. Okay, Regan, can you give me either an email or a message on Twitter, and I'll send you the link. Are you on Twitter? Carry on talking, Matthew, and I'll sort it out with Regan.
Okay, fantastic. Wait a minute, I just want to see. Have I've still got that game, haven't I? Or have they removed them? Oh, curses! They've removed them.
You can search him.
I'll search him. Yeah, I will search him. I'll just get that ready. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. There we are. Okay. Let's have a look. We've got GM Suyash Prasad against Arnav Shrivastava. What's happening here? White is a couple of pawns up, but his king is in some danger. But how do we make something of this? Queen c2 would just be met by queen d2. So I think we want to get this knight into the battle somehow. How are we going to do this? Because if we go knight a5, then I've got b3 to stop anything happening. I mean, I could go rook d8. That's possible. I could go rook d8 just to get queen c2 and then rook d1. That might not be.
By the way, sorry, Shiren. If your son wants to, I think it's son or daughter wants to join as well, we can have both sides of the game on there. Again, just message me on Twitter and I'll get you a link.
So rook d8 might not be silly at all. We're threatening queen c2, rook d1. And if we get that, then we've got quite good chances of, I think, of keeping white bottled in. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do. I'd love to go bishop g5, of course, but queen a1 is not going to be good. Yeah, b3, I guess. Maybe with some future ideas of playing bishop b2 is possible, or maybe the idea of playing a4 and rook a2 because the queen on h6 is defending the bishop. If I go, but promise, yeah, I go queen c2, check, king there. I could even go queen c3 and attack this one. And the big drawback to this, we go rook d1, king h2. Is I get stuff like I'll be able to bring my knight into d4, not immediately, but later. But if I go a5, then I've actually got to move like bishop e3, for example, rook a1 and queen h8. So yeah, but if I go, I should maybe go b6 in that case. But here I can go play a move like bishop b2 because rook a1, there's queen a1, but actually rook d2 would be very strong. Yeah, I think that rook d8 would be a good move in this position. Just stop queen d2 and just prepare queen c2 and rook d1. And I think it's been played. Very good. So queen e3. I'm not so keen on queen e3. No. But that's that I'm wrong because the idea is to meet queen c2 with queen e2, not giving black that freedom. So queen e3 is actually a good move there. And now black's got to decide. I could go round to h1. That's one idea, and then to follow up with rook g8. That would be a very interesting idea. Just follow up with rook g8 after. Another idea could be to just to play b6, you know, and get the king safe like that. Or I mean, a5 is interesting because it gives you the possibility of playing a4 later, maybe. I mean, it's a bit odd because you know, the queen is protecting this diagonal, so you're saying, oh, not really getting my king off the back rank. But you know, it is unlikely that you're going to be mated on the back rank by, you know, by the rook. So I suppose the only thing I'm just thinking about is that white is threatening queen e1. So if I go queen h1, will black go like a queen e1? That's possible. An interesting position, this one, actually. Queen e3. If I go queen h1, we could go queen e1 because black was threatening rook d1. I go check here, and then we go king e2. Still, it's very hard for white to really keep black at bay. But maybe against something like this, we could go just check and here, bishop f2, and rook f8. We've got queen h1 defending this pawn on f3. Now white's defending very well here. It's going to be tough to get through this one. I mean, you know, one way you could try and do it maybe would be to you know, just to say, well, we'll let white take on there, and we'll just pin down his rook there. But white does also have some pass pawns as well. So yeah, very thrilling game, very interesting game, that one. So definitely need some. Rook g8 has been played. That's a very sensible move indeed, because yeah, if white had played queen e2 or queen e1, we had rook takes g8 there. But white has now repeated with queen h6, stopping the black queen from getting to h1. So very interesting game, this. Aha, I can hear something.
Aha. Excellent. So we've got Dennis joining, and we will have Arman as well. I'm just sending the link through.
Let's have a look. Hey,
Hello.
Dennis.
Hello, Matthew.
Hey, how are you?
Not bad, and you?
Nah, not too bad. Not too bad. Well done for winning.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really good game. I thought that the opening was pretty equal, and then when he took my bishop on d6, like it was c takes d6 seemed pretty counterintuitive, but I was trying to get some pressure down the c file, and it worked in the end.
Okay, let's have a. I'm going to bring up that game because I can do this.
Have you been managing to play a lot of chess, Dennis?
Yeah, I have. I'm trying to.
months.
I'm
Yes,
playing in as many qualifiers as I can.
Yeah. How do you find playing online?
Well, I don't like it as much as over the board because
Yeah.
most of the time you can't really see your opponents.
No.
But at least it still works because some sports, like let's say sports like cricket or football, you can't really play it online.
We've
Hi,
also got
Arman.
Arman.
Welcome. How are you doing?
Welcome.
How do you find playing chess online?
Yeah, I find it good. I mean, it's not the same as playing on a real board and seeing the pieces, but it's more or less the same.
Good. Oh well, you two had a good game. We had a look just at the final stages. So we looked at the end game where Dennis had I think it was a c pawn that was looking to queen, and Arman had a pawn and a bishop that was trying to stop it.
Exactly. So it was. So this was it was the final position. You can just see it a little bit at the top there. But yeah, so a couple of interesting moments actually. So Dennis mentioned this point where white took on b6 and took back with the c pawn. I think that was a good idea. I think that's a good idea. Just to because you're always going to get those undoubled, and you get at least this way you get to neutralize the c file. I think maybe maybe the best thing there was to for white was maybe to take on d5 and just try and get the queen off the c file. So I think maybe c takes d5 here. I suppose take with a bishop on d5, and maybe play a quiet move like bishop d2. That might have been the best. And then you're just going to get your queen out, get your bishop out of the way, and try and unravel a little bit. It's a little bit worrying because there's quite a bit of play along the c file, but I think trying to hold the pawn on c4 was maybe a bit tricky there, because you just got into a bit of a pin there. What did you think, Arman? Were you a bit were surprised by the pawn recapture, or how did you feel at this stage of the game?
Well, I wanted to maybe play b3 and bishop b2 and then get my rook on c1, but I don't think I had enough time to. Yeah,
it was just somehow it. Although I mean, you had the two bishops, so you know, I mean, it was quite. You did get some compensation like that, but it was just tough to make something with those bishops, I guess.
I think the position was a bit too closed. Like, the bishops did get active. Like, the f1 bishop here it forced me to go b5 and shut things down. But the position, I think, was a lot more closed and open, especially in the center, because there weren't really any major pawn breaks.
Yeah. I wonder whether. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at some. I wanted white to play to get in a4 sometime. Maybe play bishop b2 in this position, and then if black goes b5, then you manage to get an a4, you know, and just break open the queen side like that, and then you've got a chance with your bishops that you're gonna. Oops, that's not good. Chance with your bishops that you're going to, you know, make some attack against those pawns. So I mean, I think black. Yeah, maybe black goes knight e4.
Yeah, I was gonna go and bring the knight to d6. Well, knight to e4, knight, and well, if I can go knight to d2 without, so knight d6, and then try and solidify with maybe queen c6 and b3, b5.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Dark always puts his knight in this structure as well, isn't it, with those pawns?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good plan. I mean, I think black's better, but I think I think if you if white plays the pawn to a4 and just gets the bishops like that, I think you've got a real chance of holding that with white. I think because I think once black got this move b5 and the knight's coming around to c4, then it's going to get a little bit tough, I think, to hold it, just because black's so solid there.
So are either of you playing in any other events, rapid plays or the senior events or anything else this week, or is this what your main event?
Well, I'm playing in for the main tournament. I'm playing in the Blitz. I'm doing the qualifiers for the next few days, and I'm also planning on playing the Blitz for the junior and the Bullet if I can. So,
wow! So you're playing a lot of chess.
Yeah.
How about you? Are you playing any other events?
I'm doing the Bullet and just this.
Oh, the Bullet! I don't know how you play that fast. I can't play 1 minute. It's so fast.
Do you play a lot of Bullet, Arman?
Not really.
Oh, okay. It's there was a match recently between Nakamura and Vachilagrave, and I was just my jaw just dropped when I saw it. It was just they were playing so fast and so well.
Oh, yeah.
Really incredible, that one. That's I'm a decent Bullet player, but it's just you got to be so Just it can play well for a few games. It's keeping it going, you know, because after a while your eyes just go all hazy and the pieces don't, just don't make any sense anymore. But so you'll both be playing in the Bullet. Well, we'll definitely we'll keep an eye out for you there, because we've got all the people that we follow. So you're definitely going to be the people that we follow from now on. So fantastic. It's so have you got another round today? Have you in the junior?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. We've got another round.
4 o'clock. Okay. Well, I mean.
Okay. Well, best of luck both of you in your games this afternoon and for the rest of the tournament. and
Thank
for
you.
your blitz and bullet matches.
And we'll be keeping an eye on you.
they
And
will.
if you play a good game and we're online, then please, do come online and show it to us, because it's always good fun.
Thank you.
Thanks
Okay,
both for being on the stream.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice. Just yeah, good comments actually. Very good comments there. It's was absolutely true that yeah, good maneuvers, knight e4 to d6, and yeah, our man was yeah, a bit unlucky actually. I think he had all the right plans, but somehow it just ended up being too fast for black there. But lovely came on as well. Even though he lost the game, came onto the stream as well just to have a chat. I think that's really really sweet, really nice. So
Yeah, very nice.
And
And
yeah,
they're both of them playing a lot of chess this week.
yeah, I mean, both very strong players. So lots of luck to both of them in the Bulletin Blitz, and we'll try and keep an eye out for them, and then just to see what happens there. So yeah, thanks very very much indeed, both of you. Really nice to have you on the stream.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's keep on. We haven't had a look at the under 18s for a while, have we? So we should probably have a look there. Although, of course, I have now completely ruined my lovely list of games that I had open. Am I going to get them back when I go back to live? Yes, I am. Oh, not all of them, but some of them anyway. What do we have here? So
so we're looking now at which section are we on, Matthew? The under 14s, I think.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We've got. We were looking at this one before, which was GM Suyash Prasad, and that was the under 14.
Yes, under 14s, board 3. I see it.
So Queen H6, Knight E7. So G3 played. Ooh, that feels risky. It's putting a lot of air on the white king there. And black has gone back to D8. Interesting. Yeah. Now, if this is actually quite risky here, because if we go back to E3 with the white queen, then we can go round to H8 and come into H2. This could be very critical indeed. So rook to D8, but threatening Queen C2, Rook D1. I think. Yeah, this move to G3, I'm not sure. I mean, it could be that it was necessary. I mean, that's always possible. But I think after this move, I think black's doing very, very well here now. A very complicated game. So now, what else have we got open? We've got Powerful Wolf against Powell Rohan. Powerful Wolf, that's the under 12. Daniel Haruma Rolston against Rowan Poll. So this was the IQP that's actually changed a little bit now. So black took on C3. So we've got these hanging pawns, or the isolated pawn couple, I think Nimzo calls them. Quite a nice position for white in principle, and now because these pawns are a little bit stronger. We've got a great outpost on C5, and we've got a couple of targets here to attack. Only question is whether black can actually play E5 in this position. If that is possible, then maybe knight C5 was a little bit early. How could we try and do this? I mean, I'd love to try and push this pawn somehow. Bonk. E5 here. So if D, then I've got knight takes E5. Now I've got a pin with F4. This is one of the things that makes this a little bit hard to calculate. So I've got a pin on here, and I can move my queen out of the way. But when I'm catching on D6. So Rook D5 was actually what I was my initial thought. But I'm actually wondering whether this is a good idea, because after all, I could simply move my knight away somewhere. The question is, can I move it away somewhere where I can defend it later? It's a little bit of a good question here. Well, let's just grab a pawn with knight a6. So I'm threatening fe, and the knight can't move away, for example, because I take on e8. So the question would be, could I go something like, I've got to move my queen out with gain of tempo. The only thing is that something like queen a4, I will have knight b4. So I will have knight b4. So that is a little bit tricky. Where's this rook moving? Rook. I don't know what I can do there. I think I'm just losing something. So that is not... I think we're going to say that d takes e5, knight takes e5 is not good. We could go f takes e5 because at least we've destroyed this this outpost here. But I think that yeah, I mean, then we get a knight back onto e4, and that's very, very nice here. So yeah, not clear that one at all.
Okay, we're going to have Matthew Theo Cowrie joining us shortly. He was playing board 1 in the under 10s, and he's won his game. So we're just sorting out the links.
Whimsical Jam. Let's get that one up on there. What was this? Oh, this was which game was this? Because I see. Oh, okay, this was the interesting one. It was this position. Oh, he played it very well actually. He just moved his queenside pawns up and came in. Very nice game. So we'd seen it at this position, in actual fact, before. Okay, fantastic. Let me just start. I'll just make a note of that link there.
Yeah.
And we've got it now. And then when he joins, we'll be able to
perfect.
Play. Let me get back to live chess.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. How is Diamonaut doing? This was where was Diamonaut? Was he the under 16s?
Diamonaut. Let me just find that.
Wait a minute, it was Penguin Torpedo, wasn't it? It was the under
board 1 of under 14s.
Of under 14. So yeah, we said that the black was very nicely centralized here. Queen f3 and knight c4. Black played. Oh, a very nice idea. And knight takes e5. So picked up a pawn there. Queen d5, bishop d6, knight h4. I mean, black looking in complete control at the moment. I think. Yeah, quite a few ideas. I mean, we could just take on h4 here. Even knight takes f4 looks vaguely interesting. But knight h4 is the simplest, and then maybe just double rooks on the f file, or play c4 in order to go d3 afterwards and get a bishop c5 check. You know, this could just be very, very powerful indeed. Actually, even knight takes h4 followed by e5 to e4 could be very powerful as well. So looking very, very good there. Now we've got, that was Barnaby Reeford against Adam Shikovsky. Oh, so this was this ending actually, which I really liked for black here. But white has done, looks like quite a good job. White's got a passed a pawn for himself now. Black's got a passed c pawn, but that can be blockaded. So well, I think maybe white is a little bit better. I mean, this pawn can go all the way to a7 and be protected by the bishop on e3, whereas this pawn, yeah, finds it a little bit harder to be protected by the knight, because the knight, if the knight was on d5, then we'd be, you know, we'd be relaxing a lot more. But I think the knight on d7 is not so great. So so I think white definitely for choice there. Now Max Wilton against Adam Collins. That was let's have a look. Was that in the under 16s? Yeah, that was board 1 on the under 16s. Quite an interesting ending, rook ending this one. So white's a pawn up. but black has got this well, massive rook on b2, and also a very active king on g3. So it is not at all obvious how who is better and why, as they say. Yeah, actually, how are we going to do this? Because I think white's in a bit of zugzwang, really. So anything he does is going to lose a pawn. And I think that that black is just going to be miles quicker in those sort of situations. So I think we're going to need to sacrifice a pawn in some way and then get the rook active. I mean, I think king here, and then king d3, and then after here, for example, this would be the safest way to play. If rook a2, we can go. I think rook b6 is kind of forced. Then I don't know, maybe rook h2. We go rook there, a2, and then we can push with c5, and we should get enough counterplay there, you know. But I think now is really the moment to go active and try and do that. I think anything else. Oh, look at the time difference: 32 minutes to 1 minute 14 there.
Oh, great.
It's now Super Skewer against Kenneth Hobson. Now, where is Super Skewer? Super Skewer is in the under 12s, board 1. Nichal Fateh against Kenneth Hobson, and oh, knight f1. Knight f1. Wow, little trick there. If bishop f1, then rook f8 check will pick up the bishop. That would leave white a pawn up in a rook f8. Knight f1 is a hell of a trick there. So the question is, can we do something different? Can we just play a move like, for example, I mean, I'm looking at rook d1 there, just threatening rook f1. And because we're threatening the rook on the 8th, so we have to give a check. Oh, I need an analysis diagram, sorry. We have to, I'm going to need a rook d1. We will need a check on there. And then I'm going to go, maybe just go king e4, knight h2. I mean, that knight is still in a bit of trouble. I'm actually wondering whether I could play a move like rook c2, and that might be stronger. So attacking this rook, and if you go rook here, check, I'll go king e4. And if you get the knight out of the way, I'll just go d7 and then move my rook in. So I think that could be very strong for white. I mean, a very ingenious line there, but I think that that white is actually going to be winning this one. Unless, could I go rook c2? Oh, wait a minute, no! Whoa! If rook c2, black has g5. Look at that one. And wherever the white king goes, we have knight e3 check, picking up the rook. So that's not a clever idea. So what could we do there? We could go, so maybe, oh, but wait a minute, rook d1 is also falls to the same thing. So I've just been, I'm being blind here. Oh my goodness. Well, what an amazing attempt then. So I think maybe white should just take on f1. Rook check, king e4, rook f1, and then try and win this one. It's not going to be easy though, because well, the king's going to blockade, and obviously pawns are not fantastic there. How should we do this? Maybe rook d5, rook g2, and then try and get an h4. I could maybe go rook g2 here and try and get an h4, and then bring the king into d5. But it's not obvious. Wow, what a resource! Knight f1, great idea. Let's see, which game was that? That was Super Skewer. So, oh, white's played rook c2. Oh my goodness. So and now g5 check wins for black. Because either king f5 or king g4, which are the only two legal moves, allow knight e3. So, but yeah, I mean, super skewer. I mean, I fell for the same. So that looked like the most reasonable move to me. But looks like g5 check is yeah, it's just going to win for black. A dramatic little turnaround there. Shreyas, we haven't seen him for a while. He was white in this position against Ethan, and yeah, this is looking quite very good for white. I guess black's maybe going to look for some counterplay with here, but I don't think that's really going to that isn't going to work. Not quite sure what the best line is for white here. Maybe just rook c4. That's possible. Just defend the f4 pawn, and I'm sure you'll be able to run with the king when black goes through the g file. Knight d3 is safe and sensible. The king can run through here, and we've also going to have the b6 pawn. So looking very good there. Nightmare Freddy against Nicholas Brown. Queen and rook, but with an extra pawn as well. That is going to be that could just be very good indeed for white. Just combinations against Ellis Dyson. So Toby Cox against Ellis Dyson. So black's done very well to reach ascending. I think obviously we said that white had some good attacking chances early on, but black managed to keep put a lid on those. And well, white's got this open c file, but it shouldn't be that much for white. Could maybe actually after the last move, you could have gone king e8 last move. That wouldn't have been silly at all. Just to threaten rook takes d4. For the moment here, of course, there's a pin, but we can easily just take and go rook d7. And white's got enough activity to hold the draw. But black isn't in any trouble whatsoever. So Ellis Dyson playing very, very nicely there. Now, let's go back to this one. GM Suyas Prashad against Swift Strike 101. So yeah, white's still hanging in there toughly, and black's still trying to make something of its attack. But I think knight g6 is going to be very strong now. If the knight comes to f4, it's going to be very hard for white to protect the king for much longer. So it does look to me like black is getting there. Oh, Lego Children against Acrid Leaf. So this was this tough positional struggle, and well, white made quite a bit of it. Big B pawn here, but black managed to get a perpetual with the queen. So a draw there for Lego Children against Acrid Leaf, and that was Lego Children. That was board 3, Harry Zheng against Andrei Pichukov. Now Penguin Torpedo against Diamonaut. So black now 2 pawns up, and yeah, looking in a very strong position there, of course. Diamonaut, who is seen in the Open, playing well. So hey, we've got somebody in there.
Aha! Oh, that was a technical challenge. Theo, welcome. Well played in your game. You were board 1 there, just on the under 10s, and played a very nice game.
So let me just, I'll just get a game, and you can talk us through it. It's coming. And there we are. A good final position. Let me see. Is it on the board? It certainly is. So yeah, we saw the game at this position, and we were wondering how you were going to get things moving. But you actually got your queenside pawns moving right up, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
It yeah, that was very, very, very smooth, because we just got rook d1 and take.
Yeah, c takes d5 was not good. Allowing that
Yeah.
back pawn.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Knight takes d5, takes, and then then just all the pawns started marching. That was really impressive. C4.
Yeah, just to achieve the maximum.
Yeah, king h8, b4, queen e7, a4. In they came. So and then afterwards, Black tried to get a little bit of counterplay, didn't he? Just moved around with the bishop, just swapped it off there. And got a few checks as well. Were you worried about the checks, or were you pretty sure that this was all going to work out for you?
It was all fine.
That's good. I suppose the thing about it is that Black's got some counterplay with the f pawn, but now the second rank is all open, so the Black king's a little weak, and I think we saw that, didn't we? Because Black managed to grab your queenside pawns, but then you piled in.
But now the seventh rank is now mine.
Indeed, yeah. And it was very much yours there. Rook c8.
Because if you tried to take rook takes rook, you could take the other rook on e8 if you wanted to.
Yeah, rook takes d6. I just go queen takes e8 and then queen e7.
And you win both rooks.
Both rooks are going down. So we got rook c8, queen b7, and I was surprised by this one. I hadn't seen how Black was going to cover the 7th rank, so that was very ingenious from just to pick the queen back. But obviously this is really, really difficult. And you just took pawns, didn't you? You just grabbed like that. There, queen takes.
Yeah.
Rook e6 and queen b7.
And it's just so horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I wouldn't like to just try and defend this. It's a tough one. Yeah.
It was really horrible, and it was a very nice way to finish it off. That was very good.
And then rook takes h7.
Yeah. Oops. Rook takes h7. Queen takes h7. Queen c8.
And then you can take that other rook. Then you've got to choose whether to win the queen or the rook will deliver mate.
Yeah. And
queen
or just
d6. d8, and then rook d8. Yeah.
And game over.
Yeah.
And game over indeed. Because,
how are you enjoying the tournament so far, Theo?
Yeah. I'm really
it's nice
enjoying
having
it.
something in the holidays to get into.
Yeah, I also did some games at the Gez.
Yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah. Are you top team? How are you? Are you the highest rated in your tournament? It looks like you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top under 10.
You know most of your opponents, or are some of them unknown to you?
Some of them are pretty unknown.
Yeah. It should be very interesting then to see how it all goes, because you can never quite tell anyway from ratings, can you? On the online chess, whether they're actually stronger than their ratings. And are you playing any other events this week?
There's the Junior Blitz.
Yes.
Yeah, I meant the adult, sorry.
Oh, you playing the adult Blitz?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Has that started already? How's it going?
Also the Junior Bullet and Open Bullet.
Oh, Bullet.
Wow.
Fantastic.
A lot. Fantastic.
Do you play a lot of Bullet, Theo?
No.
Nah.
Not really a lot of space with other tournaments. So
okay. Yeah. No, you'll love the Bullet. It's good fun.
Oh, it should be fun.
Yeah.
Just I play quite a bit. I'm not very good at it, but it is good fun. Just keep on going. Play. You just got to play any moves, and especially towards the end, any moves are good.
Yeah, just don't think.
Don't think. Just put a piece somewhere and keep on going, and that goes very well. It's fantastic. So there's quite a few juniors playing in the adult Bullet actually. So I think there's going to be a lot of adult players who are going to have a lot of problems there.
I suppose if it goes so fast, you won't really have time to know who you're playing against. You'll just play the next person that appears on the screen and just play.
Indeed, fantastic. That was a really good game, Theo. Really, really smooth. I was really. I thought this plan of advancing the queenside pawns was just perfect, and the lovely little tactics at the end to to win rooks and get on the 7th. So really well played. Really
Okay,
well
thank you.
played.
Yeah, thanks for
very
being on
much
the team and
indeed.
good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
lots of
Bye-bye.
luck. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ah, fantastic. That was very, very impressive, actually. It's just a good plan. You know, just obviously Black...
Open up the queen side and get the major pieces in and checkmate.
Indeed. I mean, Black helped with c takes d5, but after that, just, yeah, very good. You know, just very good strategical plan. So excellent. Always good when you see that. Just see, you know, junior players actually playing with a good general plan. You know, it's very always very impressive. Oh wow! Oh yes. So I was going to say that has White got out of it, but White's actually a rook down in this position.
Oh gosh.
So,
Yes.
So it looks like a swift strike has managed to. It's been a very interesting game, this one, but just simply White didn't manage to keep his king safe. You know, it just got too much. After Queen H2 check was a threat, so Queen D2. Oops, good lord, Queen D2, Bishop takes D2, Rook A1, and that was that.
Mm.
Now I see that Diamond Naught did indeed beat Penguin Torpedo. Okay. So very powerful game from Diamond Naught, very impressive game there.
Under 14s, that was top board of the under 14s.
Andrei Ivanov. Oh yes, I remember this game. We this was the interesting one. Black took on C5, was a pawn up, and this is looking. Yeah, this is very, very powerful now. This should be a win for Black. Very good technique from Black here. Using
There's another game I wanted to check in on from the name of the person, which was board 2 of the under 12s. I don't know if we've done that one yet. Leo the Rex.
Yeah, the Rex.
Yeah, because it's the name of the kid is Zakarian, and I don't know if it's any relation of the Zakarian we know as an adult player.
Oh, that could be, but unfortunately, he's not there.
Okay,
so,
maybe they finished.
Leo the Rex. Yes, indeed, it could well be. Let's. Oh, good lord, there's stuff happening here. Powerful wolf against a Roan Paul. So, bit of a counterattack here, but is this going to be enough? My goodness. Now, the Black King's quite nicely covered for checks, but I'm a little bit worried about Queen C4 check here.
This is from the under 12 section.
Because, let's have a look. What I was worried about was Queen C4 check, because well, if the king goes there, we go Queen E4, which is quite nice. And if the king would go back, which I think would be the most normal, then we could play a move like maybe Queen F1. Or actually even better, maybe Rook E2, and just cut things off like that. So I think that would have been really strong. After Queen C7 check, well, I think the Black King can go to G6. And it's not over yet, but I think F5 check will maybe be quite interesting, because King F5, Queen F4, we get our queen back into play. So F5, we should probably go King H5, and then again, I think we should play Queen F4. And again, it looks threatening here, but you're just I'm actually threatening Queen.
Wow, what a position! The queen and the rook coming in there.
Great position, but I think powerful wolf is.
Yeah, White should be able to see this from home.
Draw! Oh!
Oh, we just say it's winning and then...
Well, there we are. That's all good. So anyway, well played both sides. I can imagine it's a bit of a scary position.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that in this position, Queen C4 check was definitely going to be winning for White. But anyway, well played. Swift Strike has indeed won. Great game from both players. White defended very toughly, but Black was just a bit too strong in the attack there.
Right.
This game, this is very interesting. Black has managed to get the knight onto D5 and the pawn all the way to C2. I wouldn't have thought, I never would have thought that that Black's C pawn would be faster than White's A pawn there. So what is Black going to do here? A very sharp position, because White's A pawn is going to move to A7, and of course that will give black some problems in defending. Yeah. Ooh. This is an interesting one.
So under 8s and under 12s are all finished.
Okay.
And just having a look, under 14s had, under 10s have one game still going on, which is Andrei Ivanov. Under 14s still have quite a few going.
Okay.
Yeah, so give me a shout if you're out of games.
Okay. So rook d2 here. Black will go. White will go a7. Yeah, what are we going to do? I mean, we could go knight c7 to a8. That would be a real shame. We could go king d7 here, because if a8 queen, then we take, and we go rook d1 check. That is possible. And the interesting thing about it is I actually just want to go king c6 and king b7 and cover it. So that would be the idea. Now, what could white do here? King g2 maybe is possible, because then we don't actually have a check like that. We've got knight e3s to g4. No, knight e3 check could be quite interesting actually. Knight g4. It's got rook c3 check coming in. Oh, this is a sharp position. Oh dear. Mm-hmm. A big sharp position, this one. So I'm expecting rook d2 here from black, but I could go. I mean, I could also protect it with a knight. But I think rook d2 just looks like the move you want to play. The only thing I'm wondering a little bit about is whether white can play something like bishop e1, you know, and rook d2 is played like bishop e1, start trying to chase the rook away. But I don't think. I think there should be a draw. I mean, I think there's enough counterplay, but there could be a few twists and turns because it's a sharp position and they don't have that much play.
We've got a king and pawn ending in Toby Cox v. Elise Dyson. So it's just combinations of Toby Cox, which is the last game going on in the under 18s.
All right, let's have a look. So in principle, white is better in this ending. The question is it winning? Both sides have got a tempo move, so white can't actually do anything fancy like that. D5 actually looks very reasonable. I don't think we have any triangulation options. So takes. We are going to go king d7. And if king c5, this is quite nasty. King c5, we go a6, and then king b6 there, which I think should be
turns into a race, but white's ahead, right?
A little bit ahead, but maybe not that much actually. I'm wondering whether which is the best one. I think the best one is to go a6. I think king b6. Actually, I'm wondering we could even go king d5, which might be even safer here.
Makes black wait to move.
King there. And if you go king c7, then I go king e6, and if king c6, I go a3, force you back, and then take the pawn. So it should be completely winning for white, I think. That's well. So what I have to do probably then is, well, if I go a6. I'll just wait again. I'll just do the same. So I don't think you can really, you just can't really do that. King c5 and king e6. I thought, maybe miscounting, but I thought that white was way white is way too fast, right?
Yeah.
So that's looking as if this very tough game, very long game, that the whites managed to grind it out there. They have indeed. White went bishop e1 and black took the option to swap off. So rook a7. So actually, black's a bit better here. This knight is a much better piece than the bishop, but you would expect white to be able to draw this. But it's some grinding chances for black. I wouldn't. If you played Magnus Carlsen, he would carry on here. So. What have we seen? Oh, yes. So this was a draw. Andrei Ivanov has drawn. Oh, Good Lord, look what happened there, because managed to get into, because this would have been, Queen F4 would have been winning for white. So somehow black got himself into a perpetual check situation.
Okay, yes.
Well saved, Andrei Ivanov. That's,
yes.
Did I say Alexei, by the way? There's a Russian chess player who played for Maidstone Chess Club. Very nice guy called Alexei Ivanov. So I think I'm thinking of him.
So that's all the, I guess that's all the under 10 games finished. It seemed like the under 16s, there aren't any results up yet for that. So maybe they're all still going.
Well, we've got a few. Max Wilton and Adam Collins drew.
Okay.
Barnaby Reeford, this is the game actually, against Adam Sikowski. Pavel Murawski, he won. That was the Nimzo-Indian game. Tadeusz Thompson, I didn't actually, I tried to look at him, but
yeah,
no, I haven't seen any game there.
Sure.
And then got Joe Cunningham against Luke Owen. No game there. And Super All United. Let's have a look. No game there. So I think the under 16s are mostly finished there. So
okay.
we're just looking
at hasn't updated on the site.
game. So Black's West gone King C5. I mean, that's that is still obviously going to work completely. I think. Although, wait a minute, how? But it would have been King D5 would have been much simpler. That really was. I'm just wondering here. King D6.
I would have thought Elise would have gone King E6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how slow are we here. We're probably too slow again, aren't we?
She's doing a different way from what I was thinking. Yeah, she's going to defend.
Oh, sorry, King H4, B5. This is still way too fast, of course. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
So Black's going to defend like this, but yeah, you don't. Unfortunately, there you're not going to be able to do that. And White has indeed 2 pawns up, so should be finished that one. Hard luck, Ellis. King A8. We've got a little stalemate coming in.
Will it be stalemate? No.
No. The juniors know they're ending. So we've only got this game going. Black doing this one quite nicely. This king's ready to come into D5, E4. If the king starts coming, then it's going to be very dangerous. So I think a move like Rook D8 would. I'm not sure. I mean, you don't really want to exchange off rooks in this position with White. That's the point. Yes, and just combinations has one. You don't want to exchange off rooks really, particularly in this position, because the knight and the king can just keep on checking the black king away. But this is going to be nasty now. I think we're getting a knight to F5, a king to E4, and the rook's going to come in. Actually, this could be very unpleasant for White. Wow. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how you best defend this best. Probably you need to set up a barrier, I'm not sure about Rook D6. I was thinking you need to set up a barrier maybe on the 3rd or the 2nd rank. I mean, you need to do something like this, but this is not
that encourages knight F5, doesn't it?
Yeah, it encourages knight F5 and yeah, I don't know. I mean, bishop F2, I think you've got to go. I mean, we could even go knight D5. I think knight F5 looks quite good. Bishop B6. I mean, obviously, White wants to play Rook D7. White's playing very aggressively, but I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. I mean, Rook C2 looks very tempting to me now. If Rook D7, I go knight F5, and I go King F3. And I'm just going to go knight G3 and Rook G2 mate. It's very hard to stop. So, yeah, I think. Rook B7. Okay, that's a bit passive. Not bad, but I think Rook C2 was really, really strong there. Oh my goodness, I declined a draw. Phew. Yeah,
okay.
Declined a draw. That's So, actually now knight f5 is winning a pawn already, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think White's just felt the pressure there, and now the position's collapsing now. So that definitely looks like Black is going to come away there with a win. Very sharp game, that one, and I thought Black had a lovely opening, and then White fought it himself back, and I think even was maybe a little bit better actually, but somehow this ending, I think White got surprised by the by how difficult the resulting rook versus rook and bishop versus rook and knight ending was, but I think it was always going to be difficult, and yeah, this was. It just turns out, yeah, Black turns out to have played it well. So knight f5 now, or knight e2. It doesn't really matter which one. You're going to pick up all of these, and yeah, that's just the downside. I mean, this bishop was really quite strong when we had a pawn, when we had pawns on both sides. But when pawns are on one side, then the knight is always going to be strong. That's a move. I don't know, putting your king and knight on the same diagonal. I mean, that's, I don't know, the sort of move I'd never play in. I'd never play. But
yeah, but it is safe enough here.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's just you're just asking for trouble. It's but completely fine. I mean, the king's coming to g4.
Yeah.
The knight's coming back to f5, and we're just going to knight f5. King e5, or yeah, so king g4 going to happen now.
Yeah.
And this is going to be this has been a good morning's chess, hasn't it?
Good session, yes. Lots of lively games in the juniors.
It's yeah, some very exciting games. I'm glad we spent some time watching, because we're going to look at the juniors again, aren't we?
We do. We look at them not tomorrow, the next day in the afternoon.
Yeah, because there's loads of finals, aren't there? So yeah.
Sure. No, I'm completely wrong. It's tomorrow, Tuesday 29th in the afternoon. We look at the juniors.
Okay, fantastic. That's
again, as well as alongside a few other things. So we're looking at the seniors, the juniors, and the grading limited section. So we're looking at a bit of stuff, a big mixture of stuff tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's been great chess, and yeah, lovely to get the players on. And I don't know, yeah, you just I think you say shocked, surprised, but also happy, to see how the players, those young players, talk about their games, and
oh yes, yes,
it's really, yeah, it's quite yeah, you're always surprised. It's what Mark said. You're surprised at how wise they are about the games and the way they play. It's really very, very nice to see, and yeah, it gives you lots of hope for for British chess in the future, because I think we've got a lot of strong juniors coming along. So excellent. Black indeed finishes that one. Very instructive, by the way. Just do remember this one. Something like this, rook and knight against rook and bishop, pawns on one side, can be very, very unpleasant for the side with the bishop. So I think excellent.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you might go into this thinking, oh yeah, this should be easily drawable, but actually. Yeah, it's much harder than it looks, and yeah, and this one.
Yeah, I think that's why White defended not very well, relatively, after having played well the whole game. But I think White just got shocked by how difficult this was,
Yeah.
And, yeah, and it's an easy one to miss. So a bit of experience there, I think, and yeah, that sort of that's it's a good lesson in some ways, but obviously tough luck for White, to played very well for a lot of the game. But well played, Black, who toughed it out. Well, thanks very much, Mark. So when are we back? We're back in the evening, aren't we?
We are. We're back this evening for the standard play. Let me just give you some of the highlights from the draw. So championship round 5 is at 7 o'clock tonight. And top board will be Peter Finn against Michael Adams. And then on board 2, a very exciting clash, Matthew Turner against William Claridge Hansen. And board 3, Amit Ghazi against Ismail Mohammed Ayan.
Diamond that's Diamond
Is who we looked at this morning. So he'll be on again tonight on board 3, taking on Amit Ghazi. So yeah, lots of, I'll keep going. Tristan Cox against Tom O'Gorman, 2 of our qualifiers on board 4. And then Julia Volovic takes on Grandmaster Daniel Fernandez on 5. And Tamne Chopra, brother of one of the games we saw today, is playing Matthew Wadsworth on 6. And another good one on 7, Bogdan Lalic against Katarzyna Toma. I'm going to stop in a minute, but another good one on board 8 as well.
Yeah,
Harry Grieve against Tom Villiers.
That is going to be a great game because Harry.
Yes, it's a very good evening of chess lined up for you tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Harry Grieve's a wild player, and Thomas is as well. So no, excellent, brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to it already. So hopefully, come and do join in and have a great fun. And we will see you at 6:50 tonight for all the action.
Later.
See you. Thanks very much.
Thank you for watching.